I'm going to go over today how I was able to end Aegis session trading just gold 10 risk reward, even though I took 2 losses in a row. So let's just get straight into it. In total, I took 4 trades total on gold, and let's go over the first trade. So usually you guys know when I always hop on the charts, I'm looking for a high time frame. I go from the 4 hour down to the 1 minute, which is my entry point. So on the 4 hour and hourly, I was looking at this 1 hour POI as a potential supply, right? Because we tapped into a 4 hour demand here, which means we should be going higher. And how do I know we're going higher? Well, we break above this high. We had some manipulation here, but we still continued higher. So instead of manipulating and then going lower, we continued higher above this high. So you can consider this potentially your internal change of character on the 1 hour time frame. And so my draw ultimately was highs. And that means we can get a reaction off this 1 hour supply, but we can also go for this 1 hour high right here. So I drew this as my final draw on liquidity here, but I'm on the 1 minute, right? And on the 1 minute, you can get mitigation cycles before we go towards that draw on liquidity. So I had that in mind in case, but I still kept my same draw on liquidity bias. So this first trade here, I entered with a limit order here at the origin POI that you guys in the course. And now I stopped below these lows because this low basically made this new high. You can even use this low if you like, but this is a massive wick. And I mainly looked at these two lows as a major low, but sure, for sure, this is also valid, right? You can cover those lows as well. But essentially, my original target was up here for this 1 hour high, like I showed you guys earlier, right there. But later, I decided to manually close early. And I told you guys in the Discord that I was going to manually close early too. And the reason why is because I didn't realize that we had this 1 hour supply here. So I didn't have this 1 hour supply drawn up until way later because I was just too focused on this 1 hour high right here. And so I basically closed out manually somewhere around here for a 3-year sword. And that was the first trade, right? And that's why I was also unable to cash the shorts off the initial mitigation of the 1 hour supply because I just completely, because I was in a trade here, right? And long. So it was too late here. I didn't want to FOMO just randomly into a trade. You're going to have to wait for an internal sweep or something to enter this internal continuation model that you guys in the course. So I missed that model right there. And now I took a long here for -1 sword off a 5-minute origin. You know, that is what it is. I refined this to the 5-minute sell to buy here. And that's how I got my POI from here, right? And then I also used a 1-minute POI here as a 1-minute origin. So in this case, I also took a loss here. I could have broke even here at this internal base structure here, but ultimately took a loss here because this to me was a very good setup. This is like an A setup to me. The only thing going against it would just be the 1 hour supply, which I later noted down on my charts that next time be careful because when we hit 1 hour supply, it's a high time frame POI, it's not a low time frame POI or just a normal high, and therefore we can expect a bigger move, and that's what happened here. We had a bigger move, and what do I mean by bigger move? When I say bigger move, I mean we can potentially take out external lows because we tapped into supply. If we tapped into high time frame demand, vice versa, we can expect an external liquidity of the highs getting taken out. So in this case, we tapped into 1 hour supply. We anticipate potentially the lows getting taken out, which it did. And guess what? This is perfectly using my indicator, part of the ETU Elite package of my kill zones. We perfectly took out Asia session low to the tick here, as you can see. So I use this as an additional confluence. And Asia session low basically was in line with the low right here that made a new high. So this was a perfect liquidity sweep as an A+ setup here. And I was just taking this as my OB entry model here, have my stop loss a few ticks below this low here to cover in case of volatility. And then I had this 9 risk reward. And this trade here, this was kind of late in the day. So basically I just had this set and forget. You know, I was looking at the chart or looking at the trade when it was around this area. And then at this point, I was just like, all right, there's no point in staring at the chart. I'm just going to go to sleep. So I went to sleep and I woke up to a banger 9 risk reward being hit TP right here, right? Because my original draw, like I said, was that wick above. But I noticed because we're creating new structure here, instead of just going straight to delivery, we're creating new ranges here. I didn't want to get caught up if we do come back to mitigate here and then go higher. So I just had my TP right above 80 session high, aka the week high right above. But ultimately, you can see you could have taken a lot of nice continuations towards my draw on liquidity that I called towards that, right? There's a lot of continuations with my entry model here. You also could have took an entry here towards the high, and then once we hit the high, you can look for a reversal off the high, which obviously I wasn't awake at this time, so did not get that trade. But Again, hope you guys did enjoy today's little trade recap video. It's not a long video. I try to make these as short as possible. Here's a screenshot I sent to one of my trading students of the setup that I was looking for. I was waiting for basically until the low sweep, right? So that's exactly what happened here. The low swept, and that's where I got my entry. So hope you guys do enjoy and find these videos very educational. I do have a free Discord server if you are brand new to trading, or even if you're intermediate. As long as you're a struggling unprofitable trader, I recommend you guys join up with the free Discord server. There's no charging and none of that. And then if you really want to level up your trading, I recommend you check out the Advanced 100 Risk Score course and the private one-on-one mentorship. And I'll see you guys in there. Peace.